we somehow miraculously we navigate all of that, and that's because I've come to Mary Seymour, who's got this down. So that's gone smoothly for me. Now we're coming up on launch. How involved are you going to be in helping me prepare to market this book and get the word out as far as I can? And how much time are you going to spend on the publisher, making sure that they're fulfilling their whatever commitments were negotiated, I assume, up front for what marketing they're going to provide?
So in all honesty, you don't actually, unless you have a big major auction, publishers won't normally put in marketing plans in contracts, at least in my experience. And again, my experience is limited to fiction. So nonfiction is a different animal. It may be different. So for those of you listening and thinking about writing nonfiction, I do not have the answers for you on that. But in terms of fiction, particularly debut fiction, it's pretty rare to have a marketing plan in the contract itself. So what you're left with is usually what I like to do is, suggest team meetings via Zoom, that way the marketing team kind of sees my client's face. I feel like if they see the face, then there's a little bit more of an oomph behind the it's not just like this faceless writer behind the book that they're promoting. And I've been fairly lucky. My clients have had some really great, enthusiastic marketing teams behind them. So we haven't had any issues where I've felt the need to kind of step in and say, hey, you guys really aren't doing enough for my client work. That being said, what I like to tell clients, and I think this is true across the board, is always be focused on the next thing, right? Like always be focused on what the next project is, because, once it's in the hands of marketing, once it's being launched, you have no control. Like there's no control. You have no idea, like if it's gonna hit the New York Times bestseller list or not, if it's gonna, tank, there's nothing. The only thing you can do is continue to promote the best way you can promote, but in the end, like either it's going to sell or it's not. And if you're too focused on all of your energy on trying to get that book to sell, then you're not going to, if it doesn't do as well as you hoped, you might spiral. Hopefully it'll do better and everybody will be really excited and really happy. But if you have another project that you're working on, that you're excited about, that I'm excited about, that we can take to the editor and they can be excited about, then that kind of spiral hopefully won't happen, and you'll continue, your career will continue. But in terms of the actual day of launch, I will be 100% cheerleading for you. If it's local, I'll go to your launch party. I'll try to be on your Zoom party if I can. I will definitely be all over social media, even though I avoid it like the plague. When it's launch day, I'm on there. I'm tweeting you. I'm Instagramming you. I'm so excited for you. And yeah.
And then as far as the next project goes, how involved do you want to be in that? If I've got 3 ideas, do you want us to talk through each of them and then you tell me which one is maybe the best suited for the market right now? Do you want updates as here's the first half of my rough draft, or do you want to wait until I have a full draft? How involved do you want to be?
That's actually individual as well. If I have not sold you yet, then I'm heavily involved. If our first book we went out on submission with and it's not sold, or we're 6 months in and it looks like we're still kind of not, we don't know which way the wind is blowing with that one, then I really want to know, okay, let's see your pitches for your next projects. Let me see 10 pages. Let's talk through outlines. Let's figure out where you're going. And then we'll, kind of develop your next project from there. And sometimes I'll tell them, okay, like this looks great, go off and write it. Sometimes it'll be like, I'll read it chapter by chapter. It just kind of depends on the situation. But if you have a deal, like particularly if you have, so some contracts, it'll be a 2-book deal, but they'll be standalone. So 2 standalone books. Then I'm much more keen to say, you need to get the editor involved in this conversation, because they're technically the ones that are going to, buy the next, like you're under contract with them for the next book. But I'm more than happy to kind of do a first pass for you, kind of look at your pitch, kind of talk, and most of my clients do want me to see it before they send it to their editor. But some are perfectly comfortable sending in, their next project on to their editor, and I'll just see an email and be like, oh, well, there it goes. But again, I cater it individually because, people are individuals, and that's what you kind of have to do. So.